so welcome to this month's song breakdown, and it's going to be a little bit different this month. Usually I have a particular format of how I talk about the songs, and because of the nature of the songs that I've chosen this month, I won't do it the same way really. It's going to be different. So what songs have I chosen? I decided I wanted to talk about the instrumental tracks, and we do have a few of them in Morass Of Molasses, and they do appear on some of the albums. And perhaps some of the less known ones, but they're still worth a mention, I feel. So I'm going to talk about two songs mainly, and they are both off The Ties That Bind. The first song being the very first song that you hear at the start of the album. It's called The Darkening. And then the second song I'll talk a little bit about is called As Leaves Fall, and that's kind of the song which kind of starts the second side if you're listening to it on vinyl. Okay, so these songs, first thing that is obviously different is there's no singing, so there's no lyrics, and so that means usually that's where I get a lot of my themes from, and that's where my stories are told from. So the stories had to be told in a different way, I guess, with instrumental. They have to be about the sounds that they make. So I'm going to break it down and talk about what I was thinking about with each individual song. So first song we talk about is The Darkening. Right, so this song starts the album, and it's quite sort of very quiet at the start of it, and it slowly builds up. It's just acoustic guitars. It's two acoustic guitars layered together, quite a lot of reverb in it, and we did some little tricks in the studio where we made it sound like it was in the distance and it came closer together. But generally speaking, the inspiration for this song actually came from another song that I wrote in another band, a previous band to Morass Of Molasses, a band called Carnate, and we started an album with an acoustic guitar track, and it was called Wasteland. And that was a bit different because it wasn't instrumental, but there was definitely something about that song that kind of, I had a similar idea with this song. So I'll play you a little bit of that Carnate song now.
Seems we've walked this road for miles, and compassion has run dry.
That was an interesting trip down memory lane. I haven't heard that song for a while. So you can see how it is layered acoustic guitars. The Darkening definitely has a slightly more spooky feel to it. And also because of the way we recorded the album as well. I don't know if you guys know, but we actually recorded this kind of track that we put behind the entire album on The Ties That Bind, which was basically me sitting in the middle of a forest with a recording device, just recording the sounds of the forest. And in The Darkening, I feel like you can really hear that, especially on headphones. So that was a really cool thing about that song, and it was fun to do. It was a fun little idea at the start of the song, and obviously then when it kicks in with Woe Betide on the album, it's gone from this very light acoustic thing to it really smashes in with that riff, and that's kind of what it was about. It was about this introduction to the world of this dark forest, and then slam you with the big riff. Okay, so the next song is As Leaves Fall, and this one is a little bit more involved than The Darkening because it has some sort of percussive slight drums to it. It has some definitely layering of two different types of guitar, acoustic guitar and a bit of electric guitar, and more importantly, the thing that I think really makes it is it has flute on it. And Matt from Trevor's Head played flute on this again, and I think it just sounds beautiful. Really kind of mystical and magical. It kind of carries you away a little bit when you listen to it, and is the perfect partner to Legend of the Five Sons, which he played flute on as well on this album. And yeah, really love it. So in terms of how we recorded it, I think it was because it was a very late in the day idea to put this on the album. I think that me and Raj just kind of had roughly made something up, and we recorded it in the studio. I think we recorded it pretty loose. We might have not used a click track, or if we did, it was pretty loose. And then I remember one thing about Phil's guitar part as well. I think he kind of made it up on the spot-ish, and some of the lead parts on it were definitely being worked out in the studio, and I think they sound really good. I don't think you can tell at all. And there's some really nice interesting interplay between the flute and the lead guitar, which I absolutely love. So yeah, it's a really good song, and one of those sort of bits of magic that just sort of happened in the studio, and yeah, it was really cool. I'm glad that both these instrumental tracks got included on the album. I think they add something to it, And I'm not against doing acoustic stuff, and I'm not against doing instrumental stuff, and so these kind of tick both those boxes. And I suppose if we're talking about instrumental stuff, I should probably give an honorary mention to a song off the previous album, which was These Paths We Tread, and there's a song on that called The Ritual, and that technically is not, I don't really think of it as instrumental because it's more of an a cappella song, because it's literally all vocals and some weird crackling fire sounds and maybe a tiny bit of tambourine, but not really any melodic instruments. So yeah, and that was basically, we just layered up lots and lots of vocals on top of each other, and it was kind of a partner song to Maynard's, so that's how that came about. And again, that was something that just completely happened in the studio, and as quite often happens, magic just happens in the studio. So there you go. Cool. So the instrumental tracks for Morass Of Molasses. I hope you've enjoyed this insight into different types of songs that we don't normally write, I guess, and this is a bit of a different way of doing a song breakdown, I guess, because you know, a lot of these songs actually developed in the studio, so there wasn't a lot of lead up to them really. So cool. Right, see you guys next month. Bye bye.
Stop